Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I know it's only been a couple days since we were here last. To me, it feels like it was a week ago. It's just been a really busy few days. Just quick show of hands. Before class we were talking, several people jumped right into the 2-bedroom project. How many of you guys didn't have a chance to jump in? Okay, that's fine. That's funny. So the people, okay, how did that work out? The people who were late also didn't have a chance to jump in. I'll let you analyze that for yourselves. Okay, let's leave that be for now. I wanted to bring that up because maybe just the few of you who were able to jump in, if you guys could give me some feedback, if there was, so not things that we haven't gone over. Raquel, Deshina, I know you guys are excited. So not things that we haven't gone over. But of the things that we've gone over, like starting up files, the things that we think about when we're first starting a project, sorry, that's going to be a really awkward first minute and loud. Sorry. But was there anything that didn't feel intuitive yet or didn't feel like it was on the way to being intuitive? Does that make sense what I'm asking? Or do you think that we've gone over the step by step, this is what you do, to where you're like, okay, I think I get this rhythm, I just need to practice it?
It feels pretty good.
Okay.
I think with practice it just gets even better.
Okay, good.
Starting out, I feel like, I was a little slower, but I'm like, okay, I have to do it this way.
In time.
Dimensioning and the RP, what's it stand for again?
Reference plane.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just know it by RP now.
Yep.
Using that just really helped, and
Good.
I started to use it more intuitively without thinking about, like, okay, I'm not sure about this, let's just put a line there.
Sure.
So I think it gets better the longer.
It's starting to click. Okay.
I agree. It was using the dimension lines to help move things
Mhm.
where I wanted them to be or where they should be was really helpful too.
Good. Caitlin, you agree?
The plan didn't always work out for me, so I got a little frustrated with that, but
We'll keep, I mean,
I kept trying it. So.
there's going to be a few more times to practice. This beginning part of Revit, it's really so fundamental for how the rest of the semester will go, because I really always want people to be able to build a strong base model, and not just a strong base model. I want you guys to be able to completely mess it up, do everything wrong, but still be able to redeem it, because that's what I have to do every day. I wish that I would jump in and do everything perfect, but I don't. And so part of being good at Revit is knowing how to fix your mistakes. And next week, what I'm planning on doing is the first hour of class, I'm going to give you guys a small floor plan. I actually download it before class. I'm not going to post this yet, but I want you guys to know what you're getting into. So let me pull this up, and I'd like to jump ahead a little bit so that this weekend everybody will have to have time to work on Revit because of the assignment that's coming up. So that if you feel that there's something you need to practice it before the first hour of next week, okay? So the first hour of next week, what I'm going to do is give you guys this small floor plan or something similar. And my hope is that within that first hour, maybe less, you guys will be able to lay out this entire plan with the windows, with the doors, and then maybe if you feel comfortable, maybe even throwing on a roof. I'm not sure, but if we're not going to do the roof, at least laying out, a couple sheets for me. And what I'm going to do is have you guys turn in those PDFs as well as your Revit model, okay? I'm going to kind of look through those privately. But then as a group, what I'll have you guys do is kind of get together in smaller groups again and kind of analyze each other's models. Like, for instance, Jules and Deshina, you guys might switch places, and Valerie, you might go with them. And I want you guys to be able to click on each other's walls and say, oh, did you notice that these were unconnected? Or I noticed when you were working on your screen, you're only working in floor plan. Did you remember to open up your other views to kind of help you with those other things? So in summer, because we're so condensed, just because we're going faster, it doesn't mean that I don't want to be as thorough. And the only way to really test these things is to kind of throw you guys out of the nest sooner and see how well you fly. So this is my first time of like pushing you out and just saying, okay, show me that you guys can remember how to start the project, how to make the walls, windows, doors, things like that, as well as doing part of the print. So remember, I don't want this to be a surprise. I don't want to throw any curveballs. I'm showing this to you guys now so that you can kind of go through and practice, so that in that first hour, if there are questions that come up, you can practice it over the weekend. And remember, those lectures are always online if you want to go back and reference them if there's something that you get stuck on. Okay? Any questions about this, where we're going? Okay, so just remember, beginning of class, I will just have that posted on Canvas, and I will have it close, which means that it's going to be due basically at like 7 or 7:05. I'll want your Revit model and your PDFs, but everything will be in Canvas as well as the rubric. Okay, so watch out for that next week. Now for this evening's class, if you guys are okay, I would like to jump a little bit ahead and start going into windows and doors. And tonight's class is actually supposed to be a review of walls and setting up the file. But instead of doing that, I'm going to throw one more thing at you, windows and doors. And then next week, after you guys do kind of your 1 hour, let's see how things went, I'll spend most of the rest of class just essentially hosting a lab, going over questions or things that didn't work out. And then if we can get through those within like another, 30 minutes to an hour and a half, then I'll do a quick introduction of the next topic, which will be some views. And so again, I'm trying to preserve as much lab time as the end as possible. So even if we end up 2 weeks ahead of schedule, that's great. That's 2 extra weeks that we get to work on our final. Okay? So are you guys okay if we just jump right into doors and windows, things like that? Okay?
A quick question.
Please.
Sorry.
It never has to be quick.
I'm having difficulty just logging into Canvas even.
Oh, what is it saying?
There's an authentication error, and I just keep getting it, and I don't know why. Should I
Do
try
me a
it?
favor, try to log in from your phone,
Okay.
because it could be, so coming back over here, I'm not going to spend any time reviewing our floor plans because I think by the end of class we all had the same thing. If you have any questions on whether or not our floor plans are the same, like if you end up looking at my screen and something's kind of off on yours, again, just hop into the YouTube lecture, fast forward to the very end of our last class, and you can verify those dimensions. So where we want to go tonight is we will be putting in all of these openings, which really aren't that many. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows and an opening. And then we've got 2 sets of doors. Did I miss this one? Okay, I missed that one right there. And remember, this is a really unique situation, but we can still bring it back to real life. So this could be a sketch that we're working on where we don't quite know the windows, but we just kind of drew them in and now we have to figure out what the proportion of those windows are. Or it really could be that you have a client that you're working with and you have kind of the skeletal set of plans that you need to figure out what the window and door sizes are. Raquel had a really good question at the beginning of class that I'd actually like to address now. And it had to do with the 2-bedroom house that's your assignment this week. So Raquel, if I am saying this correctly, you were saying that when you were putting in the 2-bedroom, it wasn't the Revit thing that was hard, but the dimensions that were really tripping you up because some things just weren't lining up the way that they were on the plan.
Right, so on the plan, they had, very specific, like, 12 by 6.
Sure.
2 by 6, and so some of them ended up being like 17, 5 and a half, and I'm like,
Sure.
that's not
No, not at all.
So it kind of seems like, when they print a plan, it seems like they just round it
Yeah.
up to make it sound nice.
Sure. And again, we don't know the wall types that they're using either. So that's those little inches tend to add up. So what I wanted to tell you guys tonight, for those of you who have started or will be starting this week, remember that in our class too, we did our assignment together, the tiny house, and it isn't perfect. It doesn't follow that plan because that's what happens when you're working off of a sketch. So when you work for your modern 2-bedroom, if you read one of the places where I grade, or just in the assignment description, it says something that it's proportionate to your best ability. So you're really the judge on how things line up. Because you are all working on that one individually, Raquel, your stuff will probably be different than Brooke's, and that's okay. What I'm really looking at, that's kind of secondary compared to the Revit stuff. I'm really going to be concerned about like the levels and how things got put in, those types of things, the sheets. The dimensions, as long as it's close, I'm totally fine, right? So try your best with that. It will be a little bit maddening, but again, it's going to be really close. Going back even a little bit more, I'm sure when you guys were working in AutoCAD, I think Felicia was the only one who hasn't taken CAD. Remember, you draw your little sketch perfectly at 1/8 inch and you'd put it in CAD and you're like, dude, where did that 4 feet go that I needed in this room? That would happen to me all the time. I don't know if it's because, I can't remember if it was because I sketched tiny or big, but by the time I put it in the program, like if my house was symmetrical and 2 walls are supposed to line up, one wall would be here and one wall would be down there with the exact same dimensions. So, you know, that's just the human in all of us. So now we can continue on. Gosh, that was a 10-minute speech just to get us started. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to use the floor plan, and we are also going to use our elevations to essentially walk around the house and try to figure out what the sizes of our windows are. In this case, I'm going to be documenting them up on the wall. And before you guys go tonight, you can even take a picture of the board, because this plan, as you maybe have seen, it's really similar to the other one. Raquel, wouldn't you agree that the plans are really similar? So if you wanted just to kind of take note what the similarities are, you can grab some of the dimensions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in our bedroom. So I'm going to kind of go through the elevations and see what type windows. But let's just kind of eyeball it right now. If this is a 3-foot door here, right? What do you guys think about this window? Do you think that's bigger or smaller than 3 feet, or about 3 feet? About 3 feet? Okay. So if this is a 3-foot window here, these would apparently be larger, right? So let's say we have a 3-foot window here and maybe 3.5 feet there? Or even 4 feet even? You'd say 4? Okay, so we've got 3, 4, 4, and then what? 12? 18? It's almost half this, so maybe 18 right there. Okay, if I put my little pinky here, my pinky fits on it perfectly, and I got 2 pinkies right there. I'm going to say half. I'm going to say that that one is half of that. That's how exact I am. Did Kristen do the whole perfect and precise thing in AutoCAD?
Yes.
Okay. That's my motto, y'all. Don't tell her I'm using my pinky in this class. She'll die. Okay. So here, I wish I had like a projector that actually worked so I could even write on the board. Let me just sketch it really roughly here because there's only a few windows. So remember, people, my master's degree will be at work here. I'm going to call, and I'm not even going to show the rooms, but I'm going to call this A. I'm going to call both of these B because they're the same window. I'll call that C. And then we've got over here on the overhang, we've got this one. I'm going to do that one a little bit later. I'll call this one D. Did I draw that wrong? I totally did that wrong. Sorry. I have another pop out here. Got this one right here. Is this another C? Will you guys check for me? Does it look like that same 18-inch? Okay. D. Let's just call this one C again. And then those two are just openings. So I'm just going to call both of these X because they're not really windows. Okay? And now I'm going to Vanna White it because it'll just be easier. It's not Vanna White. Let's fill in all that information. So we decided that window A is going to be 3 feet by something. We don't know yet. We have to keep looking at pictures. Window B we said was 4 feet by something. C is 1 feet 6 by something. D, help me out on that one. How big does that look?
That looks very similar to B.
Is that close? Is that basically another B?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to write, because we haven't seen it from the front, but we're gonna write B again. And I'll put this one in parentheses. And then we've got these openings right here. How big do those look? Another 3 feet?
Yeah.
3-ish feet? By whatever. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at the elevations and kind of look at those proportions. Like, are the windows longer than they are wide? Are they squattier? And then we can start filling in some of this so it'll be easy to go through in Revit and figure out their sizes. Bless you, by the way. Okay, so let's start with our front windows, I think. Yep, so I think this is the window that's in the kitchen. So that is window B. What do you guys think about that? If that's 3 feet wide, how tall does that look? Does it look like it's pretty square? Yeah. So we'll say window A is a 3 by 3. What about the skinny little C window right there? What do you guys think about that?
Someone says probably a foot.
Yeah, so it's narrow. It's still only the oh my gosh, I can't even think. It's still the 1.5 feet, but let me skip ahead, not skip ahead, but let me point something out. I'm gonna come up to the mic for this. If you look at this room and most rooms, do you notice that the doorways are the same height as the windows, right? So that's a common occurrence in homes. So whether it's at the 6'8", which is the standard mark, or 7 foot, or if you're super fancy, even taller, it seems like now 7-foot doors have become the standard. People are just so fancy now. But they're typically the same. But what do you guys notice about this particular window here?
It's taller than.
Yeah, so it kind of bumps up. So while we're thinking about that window, because we know it's gonna bump up, if I'm gonna draw an elevation of our house, here's something else we have to decide. If our door to go outside is 3 feet wide, how tall are we gonna go in this house? Are we gonna go 6'8", or are we gonna go 7 feet? We're designers, we can decide. 7? Yes, fancy. Good. So we've got a 7-foot door. So this lets us know that the head height of that window will be 7 feet, right? So it's going to be 7 feet, then we've got 3 feet, and then 4 feet to the ground. Where this window right here, see how the head height is going to be a little bit taller? To me, it almost looks like almost a perfect square. So it's either going to be like 18 inches above that mark or even 2 feet above that mark, but it's a little bit taller and it looks like it's going really far down to the ground, okay? And even these doors right here, they look like they're at the 7-0 and they go all the way down.
If you go to the next picture over,
Yeah.
there's another view.
So this one, it goes almost to the ground, but not quite. So knowing that, you know, if this is our 7-foot mark right here, and we add about another 18 inches or so, and then chop off a little bit here, what do you think the final height of this window is? You guys just shout it out.
5.5.
About 5.5 feet? Oh wait, what was it? Sorry.
I said 7.5 because they're
7.5?
each and there's one.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that because if the standard height is 7.5 and then we're bumping up, so I'll go with the 7.5. Okay. Good, we've got a little bit more information there. I'll keep zooming around. So now we've got those same doors in the back. Those aren't our windows, those are the double doors. But we've got these windows right here in the bedroom. Those are our Bs. 4 feet by, what do you guys think? 18 inches, yeah. Those are they're very private. They're almost like a transom window. And I might have to flip this around one more time because do you see how this almost looks like it comes up to that higher level too? Like if this is our door right here. So I'm just gonna put a note right here. Higher head height. We'll leave them standard for now, but we'll raise them up in just a bit. Whoops, wrong one. Oh wait, this one and this one. That looks like a funny little face. Okay, did we get most of them? Almost. Oh, look, this one here goes all the way down to the ground. You guys see that one? Okay, so that is this window right here. And let's keep it at the 7.5 because again, we're the designers, it's our sketch, so we'll just keep both of these C windows the same. Okay? We'll keep
I
them.
think the patio comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Probably, yeah.
It should be the same.
Yeah, and I would assume that even in the front, on that side, there could be like a patio too, or some sort of landscaping that they just left out. So it's probably at the same height, but just the way that it looks.
So when you look back, this one has 6 windows. How many did the other one have?
See that one, 6 windows?
Yes, and then
Let's take a look. So 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
Yep. And let's hop back here. One more. Okay, so it did leave off that bottom one. Yeah. So I mean, again, this is just our sketch. We're the designers. I would say for tonight, let's leave them the same to start. And then when I kind of leave you off to go off on your own way, then you guys can kind of play with it a little bit more. Okay. And then here, it's just an opening. So you can see, wait, is that the same opening? I think so. Let me look over here. Yeah. So that's just our X. So if this is 3 feet here, how tall do you guys think that is? About 5-ish feet? Yeah, I'd agree. And we'll see how that looks once we get it in there. And I think that's all of our information, right? That we need just to get started. We'll come back and do the doors in just a bit, but I think that now that we have the windows done, I think the doors will be easier. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up one more time. So here's all of our windows now that we've looked, and our openings. Now that we've looked at our elevations, we have more information. Then once we get our windows in, then we can come through and do our doors as well. Okay, so let's hop into Revit. And for this, I'm going to do that same thing where I open up the few different views. So for this one, I think I want to go my 3D view and maybe even my elevation. So I will do my north elevation to start. The sound of that rusty little fan is going to be driving me crazy all night. It's so sad. Okay. Is everybody at a good spot to get going from here? Does anybody still need a minute? Okay. So let's go ahead and start talking about our openings then. The last time we worked, we went through walls, W-A, and now we want to jump into windows, which are W-N, if you want to do the shortcut. And a few things will be slightly similar. So if I type in W-N, you will see that by default, just like my walls, I will have a specific window loaded up here, okay? Now in your architecture template, there might only be this fixed with trim. I don't think there's many more windows, okay? But here there are a few more. Now one thing that will be a little bit different than our walls is we can actually come through and load different types of windows. So if you were here on the first night of class, we did that crazy crash course into Revit where we kind of already talked about this. But I'm going to slow down tonight and give you guys a little bit more background information. So windows and doors are part of what's called a family. And so fixed with trim is a family, and it means that they all have similar characteristics, but different sizes. Okay, so if you look at me and my sister, same characteristics, different sizes. Okay, same with this casement window. This is its own family as well. Now in this class, because we're an introductory class, we don't do a lot of family editing outside of annotation. We kind of just take the standard sizes that are given to us, but there's a few things that we can change, like the width and the height, But as far as like the actual physical structure and details like that, we really just leave standard. Okay, so if we go to load family, go ahead and click on that for me. There are a few more window types in here. Now, I want to ask the crowd one more time. When you clicked on Load Family, did you come to a folder called US Imperial, and down at the bottom there's a folder called Windows? Yeah? Okay, good. I just want to make sure your computer was pathed correctly. It doesn't go there all the time, but it should. Now, there are so many windows loaded up in here, and if you click on them, you can get a preview of what they look like. Bless you. But even with all these windows, you might find that it's going to be a little bit hard finding something that works with a project like this. That's pretty modern, I would say. So take a look for just a minute, see if there's something in here that you like, or if you just want to use, you know, a really standard window type. We can just do kind of that fixed window. So I'll let you guys look for just a bit. Anything calling out to you guys? What do you think? Is there a window that you guys want to load?
I'm happy to be fixed.
Yeah? Anybody else see something in there? Or no?
What's the instance window fix?
Instance. So with the instance, what that does, when you talk about something being a family, it means that all of them are similar, including the size. Instance means that each one of them will go in unique, and so like if you make this one a 4x4, it won't change that one to be a 4x4. So it's an instance rather than an entire family. Okay? So we'll do the families for now. If we do a commercial project, we'll do the instance because we have our window fixed right here that we have this one plus another one that we could use. Okay, so it won't be very exciting, but let's just practice loading one in. So why don't we have to do a window square opening, right? So down at the very bottom, there's window square opening. Why don't we start with that so we can start putting in our X openings that I have up there on the board, okay? So go ahead and click on open. It's already asking me to save the project. And here, by default, the size is 36 by 48, okay? Now, what size do we want it to be?
3x5.
Yep, we want it to be 3x5, so it's really close. Now, you guys already know how to do this, even though you might not know that you know how to do this. If you wanted to change the square opening size, the first question is, can you?
Yeah.
Okay. If you were to change it, what do you think you'd click on? Edit type. So what is that similar to? Where have we used that before? With our walls, yeah. So we're going to click on edit type. Should we go ahead and change the size now?
No.
Good, we shouldn't. What should we do first? Perfect. So we're going to duplicate it, and then this time we're going to rename it to 36 by 60, right? Just to make it consistent. Then we're going to click OK. And do you see that it's naming it as rough height, not just height? So we're going to make that 5 feet. So now we have a 3x5. You can even look at my little preview here. Okay. And then if that looks good, we can click OK. And I'm going to come back to our floor plan here. So it looks like our openings are just kind of centered in these little walls. I hope I have both of them in there. Let me check real quick. I don't, but I can easily get them in. So I'm going to hit escape for now. And I'm just going to drag this over. I'm going to drag this out too. And I'm just going to copy the dimensions. I think this is, yep, the 4 feet 10. I'm going to do the same 4 feet 10 out here. And then with the window, do you guys mind looking at my screen for just a moment? Do you see that those quick dimensions came up, the temporary dimensions? And see how the temporary dimensions aren't really helping me yet? It's weird, it's giving me a no, but it's still letting me move it. So oddly enough, it went in centered, but I didn't know it was centered or equal until I clicked on these points. Okay, I'm gonna try that one more time down here, and I'm gonna make it off so I can use my reference dimensions. Okay, so now that I've got those in there, I want to make this equal. Oh, I hate this. This is a new thing. I actually have to put the dimensions in, and now I can make it equal, and it'll put it in the center. So let me show you that one more time. You guys mind looking one more time? So I'm just going to click on the window and see how I have my temporary dimensions. Unfortunately, with the update, my equal is gone now with my temporary dimensions. For that to pull up, I have to click this button right here to make the dimensions permanent, which just means that it'll come up on my screen. And now when I click the dimensions, do you see that the EQ sign comes up now? If I click on equal, it'll take that window and it'll put it in the center. So there's one extra step. I'm gonna have to talk to Revit about why did you guys add that one extra step? And again, if I'm looking in 3D, I can kind of spin this around, but I think that looks pretty good from what it was supposed to look like. If you didn't get both of the openings in, you can come back and put them in and center. I just wanted to walk you guys through a couple more windows, and then I'll leave you to it to kind of finish them up. So let's plan on at least doing window, we just did the opening, let's do window A and B together. Or maybe just window A. I want you guys to try the rest of them together. So for window A, I think we decided that we are just going to do the fixed with trim, so it just looks really clean in our model. And I don't think we're going to see the 3x3 here. Pretty close. So let's do it this way. I think last week, Caitlin, I started with you, right? Okay, Deshina, I am going to start with you today. So let's go through step by step, and I want each one of you guys to essentially tell me what to do from the very beginning. So Deshina, take it away. Yep. And then Jules, the next one's you. Yeah, so we want to go to the fixed with trim. Okay. What would you do now, Valerie?
Select the size that you want.
Okay.
And drag it into the location you want.
Now this one's a little bit tricky because do we have the size that we want? Not quite, right? So let's jump over to Ashley. What would we do in this case if we wanted window A? Yep, good. Edit type. And then after that, Emily, what would we do?
Duplicate.
Good. Okay, So I'm going to make this a 36 inch by 36 inch. Okay. And I know that there's so much information in here. It gets a little overwhelming, but just try to focus on where it says height and width under the dimension category. That's what we're looking for. You guys able to unbury those? Okay. Okay. So we've got our 3 foot by 3 foot. Caitlin, how do I get out of here? Yep. So I press OK. And then I'm just going to, this is window, is this window A? Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep looking behind me like I'm super surprised. I'm just going to throw this in here. And let me go back to the plan. So Raquel, I'm going to put you on hold for just one moment. Would you guys agree that the window looks like it's about 2.5 feet away from that wall? Okay. Raquel, tell me how to get the window 2.5 feet away from that wall.
Yes.
Maybe. Brooke, what about you? What would you do?
Type in on the dimension
Yep.
on the right, 2.5.
Yeah, so you put in your dimension string first, right? Yeah, so like, are you talking about
It's
this?
the ones that just popped up.
Oh, did they actually have one?
Yeah, right there.
Sweet, okay.
Oh, but first I clicked that far right dot to make sure it was on the inner face of the wall.
Got it, okay. And then you just did 2.5 from here? That works. Okay, I love it. I didn't even think to do the temporary dimensions. I just was gonna go straight into doing dimensions, so that's good. All right. What was that? 2.5. So, which is 2.5 feet or 2 feet 6 inches. God bless the imperial system. It's so confusing. Okay, so we've got this one in. Do you guys want to do one more together, or would you feel comfortable putting in windows B and C on your own? Maybe the only thing that I will do, I'll give you the dimension as to where it should be placed, so we're consistent. How's that? So I'm going to pull up these plans again. Let's be democratic about those. Would you guys agree that these are 6 inches or 8 inches? 6? Okay. Perfect. So B, I know that this is going to be really hard. It's going to be 6 inches from the wall and then 6 inches from each other. Is that pretty clear? Okay, so we'll just do it from that corner. This window right here, does that look like it's about 3 feet? Close to that window size?
I almost feel like it's the same as
About 3?
It's a little smaller.
Do you guys want to do 2.5? Okay, we'll do 2.5. So we'll say that window C is 2 feet 6 inches from the corner. Does this chicken scratch make sense? This is really how I usually work. I'm just like, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, we've got 2.5 feet from there. And I would say that this kitchen window, oh, I want it to be centered on something. Let's center it on the outside of the house, shall we? Okay, so I'd go ahead and center that on the outside. And then this one right here, 3 feet in from the inside. Okay, so this guy right here, another 3 feet. And then B, centered.
So the size for that B window, it was 4 by 4.
Which one? Oh, this B, is it 4 by 4? Did I put this in? Oh, that is 4 by 4.
I'm not sure.
Why did I put one
I
in the
thought
back?
it was 3 by 3 at first, but I guess I was wrong.
No, the kitchen window should be a 4 by 4. That was square. Okay. I'm with you there.
But the other B's weren't.
Right, the other
B
ones
was
were-
The
4
other
by
B
1.
was not?
Right.
So the
Oh,
yeah,
those
so
up
there's
there.
2 B's.
You are right. So parentheses B. So we'll leave that what it was. So I'm going to come down here, parentheses B. Sorry, you guys broke up. This is the 4 by 4. Thank you. So you do have one extra window here. We already took care of the opening, but you'll be doing 3 on your own. And when you're working on your own, don't be shy to, throw me a glance or throw up a hand. I'm here just to kind of help you guys. So if you are working at home and you needed help, I'm actually here for you guys this time, right? So at least give it a try. A minute. Jules noticed something on my plan that I didn't even notice. When I drew my interior walls, I drew them as unconnected 8 feet. I really have no idea where that came from. So again, I'm not perfect with this stuff. But do you guys know how I could fix it? Yeah. So Emily, I saw a really enthusiastic nod out of you. How would you fix it?
You can click on like different walls at the same time?
You can. There's a great feature that because this is the wall type 3 interior, I can right click and go to something called select all instances. So that's probably not what you meant, Emily, but I just wanted to let you know you can do it this way too. And if I select everything in visible view, do you see how it's giving me 2 options, visible view or entire project? The difference between visible view, it's everything on that view or floor. So think about this building. There are so many other floors that has that wall type. So it's asking you, should I go through all the levels in the entire building or just the ones you can see here on this level? So in this project, it doesn't make a difference which one I do, but it grabs all those walls. I'm going to step back though. So the way that Emily, I think you were asking, if you wanted to select more than one item by clicking on it, you hold the control key down. And when you do that, if you look at my screen, when I hold control, do you see that plus sign? So the plus sign lets me add the walls. So either control or right click select similar got me all the walls. Okay, so now Emily, now that they're all selected, what would you do?
I go over to the properties.
Good.
The wall, then pick top constraint and change it to the roof.
Yeah, so I'm gonna jump that up to the roof, and now mine almost looks like yours, right? I just have this other wall type, the wall 2. Okay, so I can do that same thing. This one there's only 2. I'm not gonna do right click select similar, but I'm gonna hold the control key, add that in there, and then come up to the top constraint roof. All right, and now Jules, does my model look more like yours, like what you're working on? Okay, thanks for even noticing that. Okay, I'm going to sneak one other thing in there as you guys are working. When we put in our windows, one thing that I didn't specify was essentially the head height. So, okay, I am recording. If I come over here and I take a look at where this window actually is, I don't know exactly where it's taking the head height from. Okay, 6 feet, so not there. It doesn't take it at the trim. Let me find that 6 foot mark. Well, that's embarrassing. I'm like, where's the 6 foot mark that it's measuring from? So right now it's saying that the head height is at 6 feet, but I think we agreed that we are going to do our, excuse me, head height at 7 feet. And the 7 foot line is this line right here that I need to snap to. I don't know, maybe, did I put in this window backwards? Let me flip that window. There we go. I put the window on the wrong face. It's hard for me to tell in floor plan which way it's supposed to go, only because sometimes the trim's on the inside, sometimes it's on the outside. So again, the way that I did that, I clicked on the window, and under Other, there's head height. Now let me go back into Edit Type. I have always had to do my head height in that menu and not in the family menu, because even the reason why is you could have several 3 foot by 3 foot windows but at different head heights, so those you set individually. Okay, so I think the last as you guys go through your windows, one thing to also consider are the head heights that we talked about. Again, all of them will be at about the 7 foot mark, minus this guy that's a little bit taller. That looked like it was going to be higher than the rest. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. Everything that we'll talk about, I'll put on the board so that you guys can reference it later. But the last thing that we have left is to put in our doors. And sometimes this is the trickiest part because we have 2 standard doors. We have one pocket door right here and then an accordion door. What I want you guys to do real quick before we even get started, will you look through our Revit library, you know, where we load families? You guys know where the door button is. I don't think I need to point that out. But let me know, out of all of these 1, 2, 3, 4 door types, how many of them do we have something similar loaded in Revit, that we can actually use for this project? Right, without spending too much time on that, the quick glance that you've had, are you guys finding some limitations on the door types? Yep, okay. And Jules, you mentioned that you couldn't find an accordion door, right? So I think that you're probably correct in that. If you go to door, there are, you know, sliding closet doors that we can use. Those are already in the project. We can probably use this double glass door rather than those beautiful big glass accordion doors that it's showing. But for now, if I go to even my door menu, let me even go to residential. I've, again, lots of pocket doors, but Revit does not like the accordion doors. Now, it's not to say that you can't go somewhere and download these things, but we're at least a week away from that. So next week, we might get to it. It's actually reserved for week 4, so we're 2 weeks away from it, but the way that we're going, I think it's gonna come up sooner than later. So just know that in time, I will give you guys some resources where you can go download furniture, door, even windows if you want to get that detailed. But there are so many models and manufacturers out there that you guys can use to add greater detail to your model. So there will be some limitations this week as far as what you put in. But let me just say now that let's try to do our best and fill in the information based on what we have. So for example, we can easily do these 3 doors, but I would say for now in our hallway, let's do maybe a sliding door, and you can pick which sliding door you want. And out here, maybe do the double glass slider that I pointed out at the beginning as well. So again, we're kind of making do with what we have, and then maybe for this project you can choose to kind of upgrade it, or at least for like our midterm, you can have access to all of the internet downloads that you want if you choose to do that. But hopping into Revit, I would like to see, remember, I'm kicking you guys out of the nest a lot sooner, but will you guys try for even 5 minutes to put in a couple of the standard doors that we know? So I'm going to pull up this again, but I want to see if you guys are comfortable finding those doors. Let's just agree on a couple things. So our entry door should be 3 feet, right? So looking at our entry door, if this is 3 feet, does this look like it's about 2.5 feet to you? Would you guys agree that that's a much smaller door? Okay, so let's just say 3 feet here and anywhere from 2.5 to 2 feet 8 on that door. But the style of door is really up to you guys. You have that whole library. So you can do, you know, a glass door here, you could do raised panel doors. Everything is here in your door library. When you go to load family, you just have to go back to the doors. Okay, so there's, again, commercial here, but in residential, you might be able to find more of what you're looking for. Do you guys feel comfortable kind of looking through that on your own? Okay, I'm going to see how it goes without helping you with this particular family. I'll check in about 5 minutes to see how it went. And one more time, what I'd like to do, even though it's a little bit early, I want to go over the homework one more time because it's technically our first week of homework, so I want to make sure that it's clear since it's due on Tuesday. So if there's any questions, you guys can ask it here tonight. if you guys go home and have a question, nobody else will be here to hear it. So if there's a question that one of you have, I'm sure that several of you will have it. So first, let's make sure we know where to find our homework. And before I get too far, I'm going to switch to student view so I see what you see. Okay, I'm in student view now. So what we'll be doing this week again is it seems like a lot, but there's going to be 4 things that you'll have to turn in on Tuesday. One of them is not listed here, but here's what I'll be looking for. This first, I'm going to open up all of them in new tabs. So the first one is our tiny house. So this is the exercise that we've been working on here in class. And so what I'll be looking for is I just want to make sure your walls are created. So I will need your Revit model for that. That's part of it. Oh, I need to fix that. Revit file submitted and your PDF submitted. So with your PDF, you have to kind of decide what sheet or sheets you'll be turning in for this, okay? Since it's just the first one for the tiny house, I don't really have anything outlined here. But if you want to see more of an outline that might help you, let me hop into the modern house plan, because remember, you're going to be working on 2 projects simultaneously. The hope is that you're able to finish your tiny house here in class, and then you'll be able to go home and work on the modern house plan, and that's the 2-bedroom. So on Tuesday, for the 2-bedroom that you'll be doing completely on your own, I'll be looking for the same unique wall types. And do you guys know what I mean when I say unique wall types? Let me just tell you in case you don't. So, you know, when we did the tiny house, we did wall type 1, wall type 2, wall type 3. So scan that plan, find out what's exterior, what's interior. There might be another structural wall, okay? And again, that's kind of the best of your ability, and I want you to at least be able to match what we did in class together, if not take it a step further. Accurate plan based on given dimensions, right? So it's really up to you to decide what that accuracy is. Not everybody's gonna have the same dimensions, okay? Just like in class, we all kind of fudge them. Your Revit file being turned in is worth 5 points. And then after that, I'm going to be looking at your PDF sheets. So you're getting 5 points for all of your PDFs turned in as a set and to scale. Okay, so that's not even like a PDF that I'll be grading, but I just want to make sure that all 3 of these sheets get turned in as one document and that they're to scale. Last class, we talked about Cute PDF and PDF Architect. That'll be key to getting these printed to scale. Remember, I think I either put up printing separately. Did I put 2 videos last week? Okay, thank you. So I did 2 videos separately so you can watch the printing on its own. But the sheets that I will actually be grading and commenting on are what I'm calling I-101. So this will be Interior 101. On the simple title blocks that we have, you should know how to rename those sheets now. So you can grab any sheet, create a new sheet, and just call it I-101 floor plan. And I essentially just want to see your walls at this point. Does this even mention windows or doors? Not yet, right? Because we're kind of ahead of schedule. So we're really just supposed to be in walls right now. If your windows or doors there, that's great, but I'm not going to be grading them until next week. I'm really just focusing on the walls right now. And please show dimensions to show overall room dimensions and window dimensions. I'm going to take that off. I'm so embarrassed. I just added that tonight. Let me do this. I'm going to give you a preview of where we're going so you understand why I'm talking about this already and why I don't have to. So next week when we come in, you guys are going to keep working on these projects. It's not like we're going to start from scratch, but on your modern house plan, I'm going to be grading the windows, the doors, the roof, and the floor. So we're already a little bit ahead, okay? You guys can decide if you want to do the windows and doors this week or if you want to wait until they're officially introduced in week 3. So while I'm thinking about it, let me leave student view for just a moment. and I will keep my word and not grade you on the windows yet. I'm going to keep the overall room dimensions, but I'll take the window dimensions off for now. Fair enough? Okay, now we're really sticking to what we've done this week. And the last two sheets, so I-201, elevation sheet showing all 4 elevations. I-901, a 3D view on a sheet. So again, you might have to do some review because I'm asking for views. I want you to put it on sheets, so you might have to review printing one more time. And that's separate if you want to take a look at it. And then 2.2 printer, we already talked about. So this one, I just really want a PDF sample to scale. So you could even resubmit one of your assignments that you're already turning in. I just want to make sure that it works and that everything is going well. This was mainly posted here so that you would have the links to these. We practiced it here in the lab, and again, I just want you to do one more at home to make sure that it's working. Any questions so far? Okay. The only, oh sorry, Jules, go ahead.
When we're just submitting this, do you want us to comment the program we use, like when we submit the assignment?
No, not at all. It's just whatever works for you. I just will look at the PDF, and as long as it's to scale, I'm okay. All right. Okay. So those are, yeah.
Do we have to do the 1/4 inch scale?
I would do 1/4 inch, 3/16 around there. I wouldn't go 1/8 inch, and I wouldn't go up to like 1 inch scale.
Okay.
So 1/4 inch is a good place to be. If you want to go a little bit bigger, like 1 scale up or 1 scale down for a floor plan, that works.
And
Okay.
just use that preset sheet size?
Yeah. For now, we're going to stick with that. Later on in the semester, we will go over title blocks and how you guys can do your own, add your own logos, different things like that. But for now, we're just going to use the standard one that's in there. Okay? The one thing that's not listed here yet, I've been kind of typing away on that while we're in here. I am updating our week 2 questions. So I'm going to have about 10 questions that are going to go up this week. And just to let you guys know, it's stuff that we keep talking about tonight. So what do you do before you edit a family? Like after, or when you go to edit family, what's the first thing you should do before you make changes? Duplicate. When you are working with temporary dimensions, how do you adjust them to measure the surface or face that you want? Would you click and drag on it, or would you click on a blue dot? So if you have a dimension, right? So temporary dimension would be you click on a window and those temporary dimensions pop up, right? How would you adjust those to measure the surface that you want? Would you click and drag, or would you just click on the blue dot? Yep, okay. I just want to make sure that these are clear. And then, okay, so Deshina, I know you know this one. Anybody can answer this though. What tool allows you to draw lines on your plan that don't print but are there to help you create your layout? Yep, everybody's whispering reference planes. Yes, RP reference planes. Those work. Good. Let me see what else. And as I do our lecture, I write notes down because, again, things come up in every class that I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were going to talk about that. If I asked you guys 2 different ways of selecting one or more object, would you guys know how to describe that?
So you could control and click the walls that you want, or
Yep.
right click and select similar?
Yeah, good. So those are, it's really things I try to make obvious in class. That's what I'll be looking for this week. And maybe a few more on printing in there. Okay? But that's what I'd like to do this week. And then next week when we come back, remember that first hour of class is going to be you guys working on that simple layout. Depending on how long it goes, like it might take you 30 minutes to finish it. It might take you 45. but we will take some time to get together in small groups and kind of go over what happened, okay? And talk about, oh, I can't believe I forgot this, or this thing came up. I'm really just trying to make it intuitive. That's the word that I keep going for. I want this, even though it's Revit and it's a computer, I want it to feel like a pencil. Remember, I don't know if you don't remember, you were 3 or 4, but think about how any preschooler or anybody who's 4 writes at first. It's really wonky, it's all over the place. We're kind of there right now with Revit, but we're trying to make it so this tool is being, fine-tuned and fine-tuned. It's a very complex pencil, I will say, but I'm really just trying to, it does so much. So what I'm trying to hone in on these are the things that should be intuitive. So you can just think about design and know that if you have these things right, everything else will be okay. So I'm sorry if I keep beating things into you. So next week when we come in, I feel really good about doing a review right after your kind of mini exercise you do on your own. And we will jump right into floors, and I had something else on there, floors and ceilings, I think. And we might have just a full lab on Thursday. Or again, I'm just gonna, without overwhelming you guys, I know how to read a room, without overwhelming you, I will just slowly keep rolling out topics to preserve those kind of last lab days towards the end of the semester. So quick recap, you have 4 things that you'll be turning in on Tuesday. Everything will be on Canvas. Everything is on Canvas right now except for the questions. I'm going to finalize those before I leave tonight. And then next week, the first thing that you'll do when you come in on Tuesday will be the 1-hour exercise. And then next week, we're going to be looking at roofs and floors, and I might change that a little bit. We're going to do an intro to roofs, and we're going to do floors and ceilings, and then we're going to come back and do more complex roofs later. Okay, I think I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I think that'll make more sense. And I bet that on Thursday, I can start showing you guys how to do some interior elevations, really basic layouts of those in the 3rd week of class. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. I know that it's an accelerated schedule. I want to keep reassuring you guys, though, that I've taken things out so that I'm not, even though I'm throwing things at you quickly, there's not going to be as much stuff as a regular semester. But at any point, if I am not reading you or reading the room, send me a little note on Canvas and just say, hey, I so did not get this. Can you show me how to do it? And I hope that this would be after you do some research on your own, right? So like you maybe watched the lecture and tried it. And if you still don't get it, please ask me. I mean, we're at 8 o'clock and we've got plenty of time for questions. So use this time. You've paid for it. Okay? Do you guys need any more clarification on what's due on Tuesday? No? Okay, if you don't, I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to stop recording so I can't add anything else to our questions. We good? Jules? Yeah. No, of course. I think if you ask, then everybody can hear and it'll be in the lecture. Do you mind?
No.
Please.
Okay, so for the interior, there's the hallway where
Mm-hmm.
currently we just have that wall there.
Yep.
So I went ahead and put a door opening.
Yeah, that's
so that
exactly
it
what we're
comes
looking
out.
for.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what if we just wanted to remove that portion of the wall?
So you could do that, but let me kind of describe what's going on structurally there. So what Jules is asking right now, in our hallway right here and right here on the floor plan, if you look at the website, there is an opening here, but there isn't a door. And similar to a window opening, if you go to doors, there's also a door opening. Have you guys found that on your own? Okay. If you haven't yet, you can just go to your door menu and see that there's an opening there. Now, if you look at this door right here, pretend that there's not a door, but there's just an opening here. In most settings, there's almost always going to be a header because you need some sort of structure above that opening. It's really uncommon to have, I think our ceilings right now, well, it's going up to the roof, so they're like 10 feet. It's really uncommon just to have 10 feet all the way up, like just to have those two planes come down. But it isn't unheard of to do something like that. But I would say just for this example, just to practice putting in the door opening, I would keep the door opening in there so you still have a header for whatever reason. But if you did want to create a space that's truly just an opening that goes all the way up, then you would actually terminate your wall, leave a blank space, and then start drawing your wall again. Okay?
Cut it.
Nope, not at all. You just completely terminate the wall, right? Okay. Anything else before I post? What's that? Okay. All right. I'm gonna